Hello everyone, I'm attorney Vincent Hine with Russell Law Offices, and in this video we're going to be talking about irrevocable trusts for purposes of nursing home and assisted living protection planning. So in this context, we're planning in advance. Generally, you want to get past what's known as the 5-year look back, and we do have some other videos that discuss that, but I'll go into that real quickly here. When you apply for Medicaid later to cover your cost of care, the application is going to ask if you've made any divestments within the last 5 years. In other words, did you give stuff away or transfer it for less than fair market value within the 5 years prior to applying for Medicaid, which you apply for to cover your cost of care? Well, what we do is we transfer your home, for example, or other assets into an irrevocable trust, and this is what we call pre-planning because we are doing this 5 years or more in advance. Certainly sometimes it can be a little bit close, or we don't know if we're going to make the 5 years, but irrevocable trusts are a part of pre-planning as opposed to crisis planning where you get sick, right? We're not using them at that time. Now, so why would you use these? Well, you use these to get assets out of your name, but still protect those assets. If you recall from a different video of mine, if you were to transfer your home into your kids' names, well, now we've got the issue of what happens if they go bankrupt, if they get divorced, if they get sued, if they die prematurely. You're putting your home and other assets at risk. It's also bad from a tax planning perspective because if you were to transfer your home to your children's names, you've now made a lifetime gift. And when they sell it after you die, they don't get that step up in basis, and there's going to be a much larger tax bill than what is needed. So hence, the solution here for that elder law attorneys like myself use is an irrevocable trust. Now, you don't own it for nursing home purposes, but your children don't own it, so we don't have to worry about the bankruptcy, death, divorce, lawsuit issue, right? It's also better for tax planning because the children, in my example, will inherit the asset tax-free. So how do we design these trusts? Well, every trust has a trustee. In this particular case, usually it's one of your kids. It can be you, although I will say that's somewhat of a minority view in the elder law community. You are what's known as the grantors, and so usually you are not the trustees, but there are some exceptions for that. And like I said, there is a little bit of a debate in the community, but currently that's still the minority view in that it's better to have a child or someone else be the trustee. Now, these trusts are typically designed to be what are called grantor trusts, and that just means we use certain sections in the Internal Revenue Code when we model these so that your taxes are the same as they were before. So you still get to deduct your property taxes, nothing has changed there. You still get to deduct your mortgage interest if there's a mortgage on the home. And so your taxes are exactly the same, even though you're no longer the true owner, right? The irrevocable trust is the true owner. We also design it so that you can live there your whole life. Nobody can ever kick you out. Your ability to use and occupy the residence is exclusive. You also have the right to any income. So if you have rental properties or farmland or stocks that pays dividends, right, the income generally gets spit out to you. Now, if we're doing veterans planning, then I might use a different type of irrevocable trust, a non-grantor trust where you don't get the income. So it's really just a matter of what we're trying to accomplish. But these are grantor trusts. Your taxes are going to be the same. You get the income, you get the right to live in your home the whole life. Nobody can ever kick you out. So again, you're not the true owner. You do have to give up some control here, but we have it so you still retain a number of rights. So in addition to your right to income, your right to live in the home, you have what's called a power of appointment, so you can change around who's going to inherit. And generally, I have you be what's called a directing party as well. So if you're not the trustee, you can still control all of the investment decisions. So that's generally how these trusts are designed. We don't put your 401ks in the trust or IRAs, generally because that would be a taxable event. But Stocks, bonds, mutual funds that are not held in a retirement account can go in there. Real estate can be transferred in there. So farms, rental properties, it really just depends on your specific situation. But the point of using these irrevocable trusts are so that when you do get sick and go to the nursing home later, the government, in this case the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, cannot put a lien on the house and thus recover against the house after you pass away. It also is a good situation in that if the house does have to be sold later, that's fine. Now there was a piece of real estate in the trust and now it converts to cash, but it's not subject to what's called estate recovery. So the asset, whether it's a home or cash, or it was a home converted to cash, it all gets protected. So it all gets protected provided you make it past that 5-year look back. Right? So just recall, we're talking about advanced planning or pre-planning where we want to take your home and maybe some other assets, we put it in the trust and now it's on kind of like a 5-year conveyor belt, and at the end of year 5 it's 100% protected. Now if you don't make it the 5 years, then the question is, well, how far did you make it? Did you make it 4 years and 10 months? If so, then we'll pay out of pocket till we get to the 5-year mark and apply then. Did you make it 6 months and now we've got to unwind it? If so, we have mechanisms to do that as well. So this is still the go-to technique for advanced planning or pre-planning to protect the assets from long-term care costs. And so I hope you found this video useful. I'm attorney Vincent Hine with Russell Law Offices. Thank you for watching.